reason I'm running for president for 488 is because we're in a situation where we need effective leadership, and I know I could be an effective leader. Right now, the union is in shambles. Basically, I don't know how else to say it other than it's in shambles. Financially, we're strapped. The leadership is broken. There's a lot of like quarreling and infighting and things of that nature, things that are not conducive to a positive and productive environment. You know, we're suffering on a lot of levels. You know, I mean, I look at the simple fact that the world was just facing a major pandemic, and the union left us out to dry, basically. You know, they never showed up with one glove, one bottle of sanitizer, not even a mask. You know, when the lockdown went into effect, I believe like 2 days later, the union hospital just shut down without word or warning. And a lot of members depended on that medical center for treatment. And I thought that was pretty bad, but it got even worse because then after that, we heard nothing from them. We never received one letter pertaining to the COVID crisis or the pandemic itself. We never received any sort of direction. And, you know, of course, everyone wanted to blame Pete Matthews. And at the time, Pete was the leader of DC 33. Pete's no longer the leader, and we do have a new leader at the top. So it's time for new leadership, you know, on our level, on the local level, it's time for new leadership because just like Pete had to go, the current leadership is, you know, a day late and a dollar short. You know, still to this day, no one has come to our aid. We have not received any sort of hazard pay. And we're the health department, and we're dealing with this pandemic firsthand. You know, to my knowledge, the water department received hazard pay and sanitation. And not to take anything away from those men and women, but I did not know that COVID was coursing through the water pipes and that COVID was in the trash. I do know COVID was in those patients going to those health centers. I do know COVID samples were at those labs. I do know COVID was at the medical examiner's office because people were there because they died from it. And they told us we were essential workers. Essentially, that was a lie because you wouldn't treat your essential workers the way we've been treated. We should never have had to ask for hazard pay. It should have been a given. And then we just were slapped in the face when we were told we're not getting it. And I think that's one of the things that we need to address. And there are measures that can be taken that could have gotten us in a better position, you know, but again, it comes down to leadership, you know, and I know that I will be a great leader and I will lead us into a good future, you know. I have no ulterior motives. I'm doing it strictly for you and for me because I am a member of 488 as well. And if I'm elected, when my term is up and I come back to my position, I want to come back to a situation that was better than what I left. And I'm willing to step up and take on the challenge. My team members, Stephen and Sarah, they're willing to take on the challenge, and we're willing to help everybody. Because by helping everybody, we're going to be helping ourselves too, because we're all in this together. We're all part of Local 488. And that's why I want to be the next president of 488, to bring this thing to a level that we can be proud of and to just change the culture of the union. You know, as it stands right now, we don't receive one thing from the union. You know, again, to reference COVID, they didn't bring us a mask, gloves, nothing. And in past years, you know, the union was there for you, but it seems like in the past, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, they've just fallen completely off. And if you look into the finances of the union, you would be screaming. We basically have no money, you know, and there's no explanation for that I can see that makes sense, because there's been no explanation at all. Let me just clear that up. It's just crazy to me. And you have to consider this, and I want you to think about this. Our local is bringing in close to $500,000 a year in membership fees and union dues. You and I have not seen penny one of that money. And if we continue on the path that we're on and we reelect the same representation that we have in there right now, you will never see penny one of that money. I'm not going to sit here and promise I'm going to give each union member $10,000 check, because we can't do that. But I will promise that you will receive something. You know, I see a lot of things with this local that are broken. For instance, if you or I were to die today or tomorrow, do you know how many people from local 488 will show up to represent at your funeral? None. They will not send you one rose petal to your funeral. They will not send a card to your family. And I know for a fact because I have had friends that were in local 488 who have passed away, and the union did nothing. Nothing. That's an insult, it's a slap in the face. They talk about brotherhood, they talk about solidarity, but I don't see any of it. I don't see any of it. I don't see anything trickling down to the members. And we are the ones that fund this machine. We're putting money into an account that we can't take a withdrawal from, and that doesn't make sense. Think about it. The union gets their money before you even get yours, and they do nothing for it. And then when they do represent you, if you're an employee that may have an issue with management or some other issue, when they do represent you, they almost try to make you feel like they did you a favor. That's not a favor. That's their job. And I won't treat it as if I'm doing you a favor, because that would be my job, to make sure the members are taken care of. There's, again, like I said, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. The union, our local, is broken. This should not be a popularity contest. It shouldn't be, oh, let's vote for that person because we know their name or we've seen them before. Vote for the people who seem most qualified. And at this point, I have to tell you, the clean slate, we are the most qualified.